What's going on, everyone? ODC here, and I'm back with another action figure review. Today's review, we're actually taking a vehicle review. This is the 1991 G.I. Joe Brawler, and this is actually one of those vehicles I want to say gets kind of lost in the shuffle, kind of put on the back burner because, you know, you've got your G.I. Joe Mauler, you've got your other G.I. Joe type of tanks that kind of take the limelight away from a pretty solid design as far as, you know, going a little bit futuristic. Like I said, this is kind of like one of those vehicles that get lost in the shuffle, and I feel like a lot of people got turned off, not as children, but as adults finding this thing or looking for this vehicle due to, you know, its bright colors, due to the early 90s kind of taking advantage of this. But I'm here to speak on behalf of the Brawler and say that this is a really good vehicle, and it's got a lot of potential to be great. And I mean, very similar to the Monster Blaster that I did a couple years ago. You know, that was another vehicle that kind of got lost in the shuffle, and a lot of people turned their backs on it due to the bright colors of the 90s, kind of taking advantage of that. But like I said, I'm here to give awareness of the Brawler and say that this is a good vehicle and one that you should add to your collection, whether you are a G.I. Joe collector, whether it's vintage, modern, or if you're a Marauders collector and you want to kind of create your own team. And maybe this is one of those vehicles that, you know, maybe a lot of G.I. Joe collectors don't use, that you could use within your Marauders figures. But you could also still use with your G.I. Joe stuff. And I mean, there are some customizers out there that have painted this. Maybe down the road, I'll give the next one a nice custom paint job and give it that more realistic feel. But for now, I you know, really, the bright colors, they don't really bother me that much. I mean, maybe as a child, you know, they didn't bother me as much then, and they just still don't bother me as much now. I don't know. I like to use my imagination, and once you see all of the sculpt work here, I mean, it's kind of a shame to, I think, turn your back on this guy just due to it being subject to, you know, an orange color here and there. I think where there's greens and there's grays, I think it looks really good. Unfortunately, you know, just the majority of this is, you know, brightly colored, and that's going to turn off a lot of people that want your realistic looking military type vehicle. But that's all stuff we all know it. I'm not going to beat a dead horse here with that. I'm here to talk about the Brawler, and this is the first iteration of the Brawler, the only iteration. This was not re-released. This was released in 1991. It was discontinued in 1992. And I mean, that's pretty much its story. Nothing else happened with this after. It looks really cool. I like the different design for this. We've got two huge missile launchers right here, and these are actually a very simplistic design when it comes to how the missile launchers work. They just work off a spring-loaded system. It simply works off of, you know, basically you just pretty much take the missile and you kind of push back on it like that, push it down, and then it'll launch out like that. Just to put it back in, there's no button or anything that you have to touch. You simply just rotate that back in like so, and there's a little bit of a groove right here where it kind of stays. So there is a spring being loaded the whole time. I know some Min-On card collectors or some collectors that want to keep this, you know, in best condition as possible might not have these staying in here with the, you know, constantly keeping a load on the spring, because over time that might wear out the spring. For me, I don't really care that much. I like the way it looks just like this, so I'm going to leave the missiles in there. I don't really care about that too much. The armament it does have is pretty significant. And like I said, this is a pretty well-armored tank. And it's just a shame that this guy is just not as praised as I think it should be. I feel like it just doesn't get that attention that it should, and it's a great design. It's really cool, has multiple features, including the raising and lifting of these missile launching arms, so you can really get some good range of motion with your missile launchers if you want to do long-range missile launching, or if you're trying to do anti-aircraft missile launching, you could go that route because it does have that range of motion in this little ratchet. Now, if you leave these up, these can also swivel out. Now, they can swivel out whether these arms are down or not. It's irrelevant whether you have them up or down, but they do swivel out to the sides like so, and that looks really good like that. You can also move this cannon piece up like so. And I think that this thing does have the Brawler does have a really good center of gravity. And you can really, I mean, whether you use your imagination or whether you go off the product design and you want to relay that to, realistic terms, I mean, I think everything on this thing could work. You might want to, with these missiles, you might want to have something kind of supporting the back. But I think that this is still a solid, good design. You're not going to have to worry too much about any rollers breaking, any plastic breaking for the treads, because this is all just one plastic design. It looks really good. Nice sculpt work for the treads themselves with the little wheels right there. Nicely done. On the bottom, as you can see, I'm not 100% complete. I'm still looking for one more roller on here. The journey continues on eBay to find one of those. But it does come with 4 individual rollers right here, and it does roll fine. I mean, even with me only having 3, it rolls perfectly fine. Don't have any issues there. This is a nice, solid, durable plastic, and that's the best thing about this. This Brawler really kind of reminds me of, what Lennard and what Chap May have been doing for years. That nice, solid, durable, like I could throw this down the stairs, not that I would, but if it happened to fall down the stairs, or if I decided to throw it down the stairs like an idiot, then this would definitely not break. I can feel that it's got a nice, durable build to it. It's got that thick plastic, that nice, tough plastic that we used to get with toys. As far as fitment for action figures, you've got 2 spots up front, and then you have 1 in the gunner position right here. So you got 2, 1 for the driver. I want to say another maybe for another, maybe he controls the missile launcher or the 2 guns right here. So you have another gunner position right there. And then you have the cannon position right there. And then on the back, you actually have your missile capabilities right here. You got your 2 handles right there, so you can fit 2 more figures on here. So it's pretty good. 5 is pretty decent for a tank. It's more than you can fit on any of the other G.I. Joe tanks, even the Grizzly. So, I mean, I don't think that's too bad. As far as these little mines right here, these are actually, I think these are mines, I want to say, or they could be some sort of incendiary device, but they look to me like they're mines. Like if you take one of these off, kind of throw them in the dirt, they sit in the dirt, and then someone comes along and boom, kaboom, you know what I mean? But they come with quite a bit. That's pretty good. That is significant right there. It's a good size for armament, and these are probably the most common pieces that are lost with the Brawler, are these, and then I want to say the rollers are probably the 2 that are always missing with these, and they are very simple to just plug right in to the holes right here. Some do fit a little bit better than others, but the good thing, the plus side, if you are missing these, they're not really all that hard to find. Moving on, I want to discuss pretty much the sculpt and detail here as far as that goes. Now, there are 2 other holes right here. I'm pretty sure that you could probably fit 2 more mines on each side there. I just kind of, I don't know 100% if there's supposed to be a gun there or 2 more mines, but like I said, this is not 100% complete, so, but I'm pretty sure that there's supposed to be 2 more mines that go in those holes. Let me just test that out really quick by taking out one of these and putting them into the side, and as you can see, there is a good fitment right there, so I'm assuming those are for 2 more mines right there. Pretty cool. As far as, like I said, sculpt and detail go for this, the sculpt and detail are abundant, more so than you think. So over in the front portion here, we do have some what looks to be some sculpted detail for some, I want to say some command or control parts for the Brawler. As you can see, there's some nice sculpted detail going throughout the front right here in these control pieces. Maybe they're part of the engine. Not 100% sure on that, but that's what it's kind of giving off the idea for it. The other really cool details, and this thing has loads of sculpted detail. You can see in both the guns on the side here, really cool looking. I mean, even the integrated little wires and pieces for the guns on the side look really well done. Obviously, these are just stickers that are on there, and they're self-explanatory. I'm not going to get too much into them. That's the Brawler Insignia right there. Looks pretty cool. I want to speak on this part because it's giving off the idea that that sculpt. So when you do twist this up, it's kind of that gear that would cause the missiles to go upward. So that's pretty cool. I like that as well. And then it looks like we've got some maybe armor pieces right here for the sides up top. And then on the back, like I said, you can put the two figures on the back. And don't worry, I'm going to load these all up with action figures in a little bit. Moving on to the upper portion, we do have a little sticker right here with a targeting device right there, which is pretty cool. So nice little detail there for even the stickers. Over here we have a Marine Corps symbol, which is pretty cool. I like that a lot. And then over here we have the same type of detail just on the other side. I already pointed out the notations about the two holes, which you can fit 4 more of these on the side right there. So this thing is pretty geared up, to say the least. We've got some more detail with the treads here. It looks really good, very nicely done. Even the little rivets right here on the little spindles right here for the tank treads looks really good. Very pleased with that as well. Underneath, it's just pretty much just like a hollow plastic. There's not a whole lot going on as far as underneath it. So maybe, you know, taking a look at it underneath isn't the nicest thing to look at. But, you know, like I said, it does feel very durable. Like, I don't feel like this thing is just going to snap or break on me. It's very solid, and I don't really have too many issues with that. We've got a G.I. Joe sticker up over here. Like I said, we've got some nice detail for the large cannon right here, and even this, actually it looks like this was made in 2 pieces right here. You kind of had to plug this portion in. Maybe this is some sort of laser guiding system, and then you've got kind of like a I don't know, maybe like a 50 cal right here on top of this large barrel right there, which is pretty intense, as you can see. But it looks really good nonetheless. I'm very pleased with how this design turned out, and it's nice that this does actually stay up into place, this cannon piece. So that's nice. I like that, and you can put it that way, or you can put it all the way down if you wanted to have it that way. So, but very nicely done. I think as far as design, as far as aesthetics go, I think, you know, if this had a more of a duller look, maybe an olive drab for all of the orange parts, people would have maybe wanted to buy this more, especially being an adult. You probably would have seen this as being one of the better tank designs as far as an adult, through an adult's eyes. I know a lot of G.I. Joe collectors tend to gravitate towards the more realistic looking vehicles. But, you know, you got to tell yourself in the back of your mind that, you know, it's cool that if you're into that, but have that understanding that G.I. Joe is part sci-fi as well. Now, to show you really quick, I want to show you how the missiles work. It's very simple, like I showed earlier in the review. I just kind of want to show you how powerful the spring-loaded mechanism is. You can simply just pull this backward and then just let it fly, like so. So, and I'll do that again just so you can see that, because I know maybe my arm was in the way a little bit. Like I said, it's pretty much just spring-loaded. You just simply want to bring this down like that, and then it'll come flying out. This does have pretty good arcing capabilities as far as if you do elevate this and fire it off, it will go pretty far. It's got pretty good range as far as that goes. So no issues there. I like all the stickers on this, to be honest with you. But anyway, let's load this up with some figures just so you can get a good idea. First, I'll take some vintage style figures and we'll load them up. So as far as fitment goes, you've got some pretty damn good fitment for the vintage figures. Obviously, this was made for the vintage figures, being this is released in 1991. So that's not really too much of a question right there. And like I said, if you wanted to get someone on the back, let's take Sarge out. And we'll put him on the back. There is one peg hole on the back on each side. So if you want to put two on there, that's pretty much what it's meant for. You just kind of have to put the one peg in the back of the heel and then kind of pop those hands on the handles like so. And now they're not going to go anywhere, as you can see. Sarge is not going anywhere. He's got full capability. He's got something to hold on to. He's got a little spot. Now, obviously, this is probably not the safest spot to be in. But, I guess that's kind of... use your imagination here, That's what it's for. That's what the imagination's for. So you can fit 5 guys on this tank. I think it's a pretty damn good-looking tank. I just can't stop saying that enough. Okay, and we're back with the Modern Joes in here. Up top, we've got the Pursuit of Cobra / 50th Anniversary Hawk. Over here, we've got the FSS Cross Country, the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive Steeler. And then we've got kind of like a custom Steel Brigade right there that I made. And then we've got Shock Blast / Shockwave in the back. And it's all geared up. I mean, all your Modern Joes will fit on there. So one last comparison I'm going to do is just fitting some Marauders figures in there, because some of them do run a little bit larger, a little bit taller sometimes here and there. So we'll go ahead and do that next. Okay, and we're back with the Marauders Task Force figures in there, and everything fits fine, just like the modern figures and the vintage figures. Obviously, it's going to be a much easier fit for the vintage figures. You'll have to work with these a little bit more like the modern ones, but everything fits fine. As far as their feet placement goes for these two, there's actually 2 little holes in the bottom here, and you can fit their feet in those holes, and they fit just fine, I think, as far as the driver and the gunner. And then you've got your cannon gunner right there, and then your 2 missile launcher people in the back. Sorry, her foot's doing something weird. But they do sit, they stay, they don't move around too much, especially even the ones on the back. I want to say the guy that moves around the most is probably this guy, but even with the modern one, you actually get less movement. It's actually a little bit of a tighter fit, so it's actually less movement than the if you were to put a vintage figure in that top portion. But really cool. I think the fitment overall works with this. This is one of those vehicles where you can use it with pretty much anything you want, as long as it's 3 3/4 inch, and it will work. Okay, so my final verdict for the Brawler is definitely going to be a 2 thumbs up. I've got everything pretty much fully extended right here. Everything looks pretty cool. That's full range of motion right there. I mean, you can even get these guns to go facing backward. But as far as the Brawler goes, like I said, this is not going to be one of those vehicles where you want to pass it up. Just due to it having a little bit more brighter colors. Like I said, if you're remotely artistic at all and you have a nice little spray paint can lying around, you could detach all of these pieces. You can even detach the orange pieces right here. Everything's just pretty much clipped in. I mean, if you're remotely careful with handling your equipment, you can take all these pieces out, even all of these mines, and paint them up to any color you want, if you want to give it that more realistic feel to it. To be honest with you, there is this little button in the front, and I have no idea what it does. Maybe somebody can let me know in the comments. But I'm trying to figure that out since I bought the dang thing. There's not a whole lot of reviews on this vehicle, so I call me ignorant, but I simply don't know what the heck that is for. But yeah. So don't beat me up too much in the comments for not knowing what that is. I apologize. But overall, a great vehicle. Like I said, don't pass it up. I think it's a really good, solid, well-made G.I. Joe action figure vehicle. And yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you like the Brawler? Do you not? Is it just the color scheme for you? Or, can you look past that and maybe you just forgot that this thing even existed? Because I'll be honest with you, when I brought up the Brawler to a couple of my friends, they're like, what the heck is that? Oh, isn't it that that kind of APC style vehicle, and I'm like, no, that's the second Brawler. Uh, but awesome vehicle. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this review. I enjoy it. Full seal of approval right here as far as picking this up. And I think you can get around the, I want to say the $20 to $30 price point. It doesn't really garnish that much money. So happy hunting. And yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Hit that subscribe button if you want to. If not, that's cool too. If you want to hit the like button, that helps me exponentially. If you want to hit the dislike button, that's cool, but let me know how I can improve my content. Be sure to hit the bell for notifications if you do want to subscribe. This way you know you get all notifications with the two little parentheses hanging over the bell. But yeah, that's it for me, and I'll see you guys on the flip side.